All right, back for another episode 8 of Brothers Contracting. We've got Cory Fishman and Chad Fishman here as usual, and today we wanted to play off of the last episode's topic of customer experience, and today we are going to get into discussing the appearance of your business. And with that, I think we'll just jump right in.
Yeah,
Chad?
definitely crucial to make a good first impression, and I think appearance is such a major aspect, especially in retail space. To really show that you're a clean, well outfitted, establishment from the get go, and that initial phase with people, with clients, in the retail space is so crucial to really have that appearance of some well put together oiled machine. And in our field, it's crucial for us to show that we can balance and pull together so many moving parts, and that we're able to be able to decipher all of the facets for everyone's job. Because people, when we're working, we're doing full patio renovations, there's so much to it. And if clients don't see that you're organized from the get-go, from when they first meet you, they don't feel comfortable, and if you're just somebody that's like, walks out to the house and is like, yeah, we can quote you on this, let me just draw it on a piece of paper of what you're going to get, that doesn't feel very comforting. And they tell you, oh, well, it's going to be, 110,000. Okay, where'd you get that number, out of thin air? I think it's crucial to have a system and something in place and show that you really have your
part of that is people coming and just seeing that you have
an establishment. You
have your stuff together. You know what you're doing. You take what you do seriously. I think last episode I mentioned something about the fact that we can tell clients that, hey, we have a physical location. Where we are. We're not going anywhere. And that alone is just a drastically valuable asset in a client's mind. I mean, we do have in this industry, in the outdoor patio industry, we do have competitors that literally will drive up to people's homes in beat up vans, and that is their office. That's what they work out of. If the client says, hey, can I come and meet you at your office or your showroom? I brought it with me. It's in your driveway.
Yeah, as their oil is leaking onto the $110,000 driveway that the client put in, that's all porcelain papers and they can't get the oil out.
Yeah.
And that doesn't look good.
It's not a good look at all. Yeah. And so it does not start off in the client's mind in a good way in terms of trust and respect and just that baseline of, okay, these guys are serious. That's it.
And because if you're organized and clean and well put together like that from the start, then most likely the rest of your business should be falling in line with that, right? So like I think about a company, for example, that really does one of the best jobs in appearance and first impressions would be Apple, right? So when Apple first really jumped in growth was when they came out with first their, what is it? The AirPod? No, iPod.
The iPod.
Jeez Louise, it's been like 2 decades now since the original iPod. But when they came out with the iPod, that's really when they got huge, an MP3 player, and they started opening massive Apple stores. Because before that, you'd see them in Circuit City, and that's where your MacBooks were with all the color, computers. And when they came out and opened these stores that were modern, beautiful, glass fronts, really clean and simplified solutions for people to come in and touch and feel, it created this presence that, wow, I love this. I love this feeling. It's so nice. And there's all these people around that can answer questions. And then obviously the iPhone came out after that, and it really just soared to another level. But not only are they really good there from that initial appearance and feel, which a lot of people around the nation don't even have an Apple store around them. That just happened to be something that was, in major metropolitan areas at periods of time. They've opened more. But after that fact, if you were to order from them, right, you get a MacBook Pro or something, or a new iPhone, and you take it to go from that store, the box opening experience is one of the best. I mean, that's probably one of my favorite parts about getting any type of Apple product is the perfect seal that you're opening, the clean box, the labeling, how everything is fit together perfectly, how the wires are all wrapped in this nice thing that's easy to open. You don't have to pull out scissors and rip things up and cut through all these like hard plastic,
Yep.
Packages. And I think that makes a big difference for appearance up front.
Yeah, and obviously you'll find that through this discussion, appearances and customer experience are obviously very, very strongly tied together. To go into Apple and Steve Jobs, just this store experience for somebody who had never experienced an Apple product before, and let's say they're just walking through their mall and they just decide, let me just walk into the Apple store. This place looks interesting. And they're going to step into there because Apple stores are beautiful. They're bright. They're open. They're inviting. They have the big glass doors. They're wide open. And, I remember listening to Steve Jobs' biography and hearing about just even the selections of the floor material and specialty materials that were exorbitantly expensive that he had to wait a long time to get and cost a fortune to get, but it was exactly the feel and experience that he wanted to provide to his customers and to his potential customers. He wanted that first appearance when somebody walks in the store to be exactly what he was envisioning, exactly what he thought would be the most inviting and the most beautiful experience that somebody could have in a retail type of scenario like that.
Yeah, and I think it really changes too, depending upon the profession that you're in and what your client looks like too, right? So, for example, this is a good example. Actually, we have nothing negative here, and Jacob Takas. But Jacob is a creative person and he's going to be our next guest on this podcast. But he does a great job at creative filming, creative music, and he's in the creative space. If Jacob were to go to play a gig at a restaurant wearing a suit and tie,
because he's also a musician, by the way. He doesn't just film us only. But
right. But that doesn't really work. That vibe is not going to be comfortable for people sitting and eating and having a great meal. And they're like, what is this? Why is this guy? Was a financial advisor standing up here playing, or an insurance salesman? So you have to kind of play into, obviously, the appearance isn't necessarily one appearance or, that's it. It has to go with whoever your clientele is. And so I think that it's important to kind of be a chameleon in a lot of ways and know what you have to look like and what you have to, your brand has to look like, yourself has to look like, everything has to kind of jive together.
Once again, it goes back into what we were discussing in the last episode about really just putting a lot of thought into it. And no matter what your business, no matter who your clientele is, put thought into all of those factors, put thought into everything about what you're doing. And if you're consciously, actively working on thinking through, okay, how does this look if I was my customer and I was looking at my business,
empathy.
How would this look? How would it look? How would I feel? How would I be happy about this experience? For example, the first business that we got started was Palm Beach Grill Cleaner, and it's a pretty simple business. And the reality is, the guys who we have going out to do that work, they get dirty while they're doing it. They get all the dirt and grime out of the grill and off of the patio, but they themselves end up pretty dirty at the end of the day. We right off the bat we said, okay, everyone's got to wear black. And we have them wear black clothes, black shirts, specifically so that they don't look as dirty as they are actually getting throughout the day.
Yeah, even though it's really hot, obviously wearing black, it is what it is.
It's outside. Important for that appearance, for clients to not look out and see somebody in like a white shirt that just has black streaks and nastiness all over it. That looks horrible.
Yeah, it does.
It really, really looks bad. And then same thing, and our grill cleaning clients, they don't come to our showroom. They don't come to our space. So this is not the appearance they get of our business. The appearance they get is what shows up on the job site. Same thing. Our trucks, we've wrapped all of our vehicles so that they have a nice, bright, clean appearance, and we try to keep them as clean as we can. And so that visually, when other neighbors are driving down the street, they're not beat up, old, nasty, work vans or anything like that out front of the house. It's something that looks professional.
Yeah, we've had to put policies in place too for our crews out in the field, in terms of what they're wearing and how they're wearing it, and then also even something like smoking, right? So a lot of our guys over the years have smoked cigarettes or black and milds or whatever thing that they partake in, and a lot of them would like to do it. Right now, I don't think anybody in the working crew is doing that, but a lot of them at the time would want to do it while they're working, because what a better time. I'm outdoors, I'm working, I'm double, I'm not just standing off to the side doing it. But we said to them, like, listen, you guys have to go and stand. If you're going to smoke a cigarette, you got to go to the truck. You're not going to be standing in these people's backyards, knocking off ash onto their pavers, into their spa, whatever, while you're, doing stucco work. That doesn't work. People look out their windows, they see you there. It's just not a good look.
This is something we actually literally got calls about from clients who were saying, hey, you've got guys out behind my house and they're standing out there. Sure, they're cleaning the grill, but they're smoking cigarettes.
They're actually sitting. One of them was sitting down at my table.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes. And and I saw one of them toss the butts into my plants in the side of my yard, and that's just not appropriate. And that's a horrible phone call to get. And then we're getting on the phone saying, "Oh, so sorry, that's terrible. Yes, that's completely inappropriate." And then we've got to get on the phone with our employees and tell them you can't do that, and then have multiple discussions with them regularly afterwards to make sure that doesn't happen. Like you said, fortunately at this point in time, we don't have any crew members that smoke, and so we're not dealing with that issue, but it's something to be cognizant about. That is the appearance of your business. And
you have to recognize that everyone within your business, if you're the business owner or manager or whatever it is, you have to understand that every single person that is in that business and company represents you, and they have got to understand and align with you in so many ways. And you have to make sure that they're making sure to respect your vision and look and everything that you're looking for in your business, like that, keeping the trucks clean. All of these things are so necessary in the overall conglomerate, viewer look of a company.
I always like to tell people too, if you want to be really serious about your business and the way that you present your business, give the business your name, because it's not just so-and-so with such and such out in my backyard smoking. It's Fishman smoking in my backyard.
Right. That's a Fishman.
That's Fishman. And no matter what, if your name is on the front door, if it's on the trucks, anything that happens on a job site, at your office, wherever, that is associated with your business, it is associated with you and your name and forever. Yeah. And so,
I'll tell you another company that actually Cory and I both recently have joined to become members of, but talk about a great first appearance is Lifetime Fitness. Mm-hmm. Now, Lifetime has a national presence. They're growing pretty rapidly, actually, but it's a gym. And obviously for years, gyms were on the outs. I mean, you could probably go to a normal Planet Fitness now and get a gym membership for like $3 a month. It's that crazy. And so you kind of start to see.
And their concept is get as many people to sign up for as cheap as possible and make sure that none of them feel comfortable enough to come here, so that and then make it impossible to cancel.
The cancellation fee. Yeah. Oh, you have to come and sign with blood, both you and your spouse and your children,
in order to cancel,
and give your resignation letter, and then you're asked real quick, oh, so why are you canceling? Oh, because we're moving. Your fake answer every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, you're moving? Okay, where to? Because we have locations in that region too, and I'll just transfer your account. No. Well, we can make it happen. No worries. We'll just transfer it over. No. Seriously, we're canceling. Yeah. But Lifetime.
We're jumping off a bridge. Okay, we're all going and jumping off a bridge, and that's the end of it. And
not gonna need our membership.
Credit cards aren't going to be good anymore. Don't worry about it. So there's no more money to be had.
It's actually funny that you say that, because an employee that we had here, I can't remember what gym he worked for, but his whole thing was he was a manager at a gym in Boca, and he said that is their goal, is to get you signed up and you forget about paying because it's so minimal, and that they can have thousands of members that are just continuing to pay and aren't going and aren't using it and so on and so forth. And one of the things that he said happened was, or one of the things that he recommended was to use a one of those like gift debit cards, and just have it funded. You drop money into it whenever you need to, and when it's done, it's done. They can't, it can't come after you for it.
Sorry.
It's like, that's actually a really good idea. He's
Yeah,
like,
definitely.
That's the way to do it. So then the cards decline, and so they can't even charge you anymore.
But yeah, I've gotten a membership before at Planet Fitness, and went twice, and then months and months and months and months of payments, and until I'm finally okay.
Well, and COVID really.
Yeah, that was when it happened.
That was like
too.
the final, knockout punch for big gyms, because you think about the overhead cost of that. It's extreme, and the equipment, and everything. So when people couldn't go anymore, that was big. And so now,
to talk about overhead costs, Lifetime Fitness, and not to try and make this commercial, but they spend a fortune on their buildings. I mean, this space it's more of a fitness club than a gym. There's rooms for both men and women that have hot tubs and cold plunges and saunas and steam rooms. There's a lap pool. There's a resort pool on the roof. There's a bar. There's a restaurant. There's the gym. There's the exercise rooms with bike, cycling, all that kind of stuff.
There's the hair
children
salon.
Hair salon. There's a children area where if you're a member, you can literally bring your children there for up to like 3 hours a day or something like that,
incredible.
and they watch them and do activities with them. They've really made an experience where you go there, you want to be there. You want to go there.
You want to hang there.
It's the absolute opposite of the Planet Fitness concept.
Yeah.
They charge a lot, and they make it so you want to be there.
Yeah.
And that is, to me, how
appearance needs to be with a business.
Yeah,
I feel like you want them to want you, as a company. And
part of that too, the appearance. I always remember feeling like going to a gym, and you walk in and you're literally in a gym, and you got some guy, like some big beef guy in the corner, just like dropping heavy weights and making big noises and stuff, and then you got your rows and rows of machines where people are getting their cardio in, a lot of fit people, and I've always had issues with weight, and I walk in and I'm just like, okay, yep,
time to go.
I don't know about what I'm doing here. I'm not sure I feel very comfortable here in this moment. You walk in a Lifetime. On the left is a bar, on the right is a restaurant, in front of you is a salon, and then the changing rooms are off to the corners. There's no sight of a gym. You have to walk up 2 floors to see a gym. And, you don't even have to go into the gym when you go there. You can absolutely just go swim laps, or you can go straight up to the roof and go to the spa, the resort pool up there. It's way more inviting. The appearance when you walk in makes you feel like, yep, this is the place I want to be. This is something I feel comfortable with. And that's huge.
How businesses really are becoming, or needing to become, more in line with that. Because like that, what you're seeing is this, we kind of talked about it on the last podcast, is like this delineation of like the concierge doctors versus the big, group doctor platforms, and how important it is now for you to be more of a boutique feeling type of company versus this huge, massive thing that you're just a number and they don't really care as long as you're just paying your membership. And I think that any business that you're in, you need to make your appearance really in line with whatever that field is and make people feel good, because everyone that's buying something these days is going, in a lot of cases, off of an emotional thing and not just numbers. So that's a very big part of it. Is it's not really as much about the numbers as it is about, I want to have this, or I want to, like they said with MacBook, are you looking at the gigabyte processing power of an Apple MacBook versus an HP? They're the same. You can get the same. You can get the same processing power. Everything on paper can be the same if you want it to be. But you're going to Apple because of the experience. You're going there because of how it makes you feel when you use that computer, the feeling of the keypad, the keyboard versus that keyboard. It's just a lot better of an appearance, and it goes so far to to that level that it's billions and billions of dollars of difference in revenue.
Mm-hmm.
One company.
Something to note too in terms of appearances and keeping up appearances. It's just that there is no okay, we figured it out, this is how we look and we're done, we're good. It's actually a very active, constant, ongoing process, and sometimes battle. One of the things that just about every week I have frustrations about, that I voiced to Chad and others, is that we have a cleaning service that comes here to the showroom and to the office. We find that really important to keep everything nice and clean, to make sure the floors are swept and mopped and the bathrooms are clean and all of that. Everything's dusted. However, one of the most infuriating things, and I've come to understand that apparently this is done purposefully by cleaning services, but literally we have in our showroom here all kinds of just things that make it look a little more homely, whether it's, bottles of water set up on the counter, or placemats with dishes and silverware, just things that make it feel more like your own space at home. And every time the cleaning service comes in, they just move everything to different locations and different positions. And I have such a very specific arrangement of how all of these things should be so that they look appropriate when customers come in and spend a couple hours in the showroom with me. And it's literally every single time they come, I have to come back in here and reset everything. And it is the most frustrating thing and infuriating every time, even though I understand at this point in time, they do it on purpose so that that they clean that area. I've heard sometimes cleaning homes, they'll flop picture frames face down on the counter so that you're thinking, what in the world? Do they hate how everyone here looks? But they just want to make sure that they wiped it down and they put it face down, so that you go around and you see, okay, that was done, and I'll put it back. But if I walk in here with a client after a cleaning has happened and everything's rearranged and I haven't had a moment to come in and redo it, then honestly, like the first appearance is thrown off, and also my head is totally thrown off. I'm looking around saying, do I adjust this or do I just keep talking? Do I look like a fool if I don't adjust it, or if I do adjust it? I don't even know. And it just makes me like very uncomfortable. But it's like I said, appearances are an ongoing thing. When we got that call years ago about some employee smoking in the patio and tossing the butts into the plant, that was something we hadn't dealt with prior to that, and so we had to institute new policies. And once again, it's all about thinking about outside perspective, thinking about your customers and making changes to improve how you look.
So one of the things that I think ties into all of this is one of my favorite TED Talks, probably my favorite TED Talk ever, which is you can find on YouTube, is from Simon Sinek. And he is an author, but he also put out a TED Talk that was so good, and it was Start with the Why. And it's also a book that he wrote. And he talks about, why do you do what you do? Why do you, create an appearance that is so crucial, that makes people feel good? Why do you, at the end of the day, people are buying why. They're not buying what, they're buying why. And if they feel like you're passionate about your business and you're going so far as to make a visual difference or a outward showing of your company in a way that other people aren't, then that's your why. Your why is that you want people to feel good. You want them to feel comfortable with purchasing from you. It's not, can we put down pavers? And yes, can another company down the street put down pavers? Absolutely. But why are you coming to me, and why do we do what we do? What is the difference that stands out? And I think that that's really the crucial part for any business. And part of that is always appearance. And how, once again, and that was almost like a comparison for him, was like the Apple MacBook Pro versus a HP computer. They have the same everything. But what are people buying?
Well,
They're buying into the culture of the company. They're buying into the feeling of the company. They're buying into the look and the vibe and everything that they get with Apple versus HP. And I think that really draws into an appearance from the get-go too with any company.
Well, speaking of that, why, and one of the important things here is why is it that we do what we do? Okay, maybe we want to be the absolute best at the business that we run, the absolute best, and we're going to strive to be the best. Okay, but what does that matter if right off the bat when people meet you, you look just like the guy down the street who is not even close to the best? It doesn't matter. I mean, maybe word of mouth is going to get around a bit more that you do things in a better way.
It comes to dollars and cents in those cases.
But the reality is, if you're going to choose to be the best at what you do, you should also make it so that your clientele, when they first experience you, or whenever they meet you, or whenever they're experiencing anything with your company, any association with your business, you want it to look like you're the best.
And
you want it to be presented as such that you're the best and that you care and that you take what you do seriously and that it's important to you how you look.
Yeah.
All of those factors are huge,
when you're representing yourself and there's something broader than just you as your company is, you want every facet of it to be as well-oiled and good-looking as possible in so many ways, because I don't know, it's a consciousness thing for at least you and I of like, I wouldn't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy who's giving you a low bid, showing up at your house, giving you a low bid right out the gate, and then having to nickel and dime you throughout and saying, oh, well, that's going to add another $2,000. And, oh, you didn't tell me that there was going to be a dip over there on your yard, or, oh, you know what? I didn't quote in this. And who wants to be doing that and chasing people down the whole way and creating this appearance that they can't stand you now? And I think that it's such a consciousness thing for you and I that like we have so much self-respect in what we do that we want to make sure that people see and feel good with us from the start, and that we're being honest and truthful, and that we're not some kind of South Florida scammer like so many of these guys are out here. And you have to sell that. You have to sell it without selling it. Yeah. And by doing so, appearance is a huge part of that, because it's like, they want to trust you and feel good.
I think one of the most perfect representations of how this kind of concept, just the appearance, plays into just how heavily it plays into getting business is a story that I have from early on in the grill cleaning business. And this is so early on that I was personally going and doing grill cleanings at people's houses, which was really the first 2.5 years of being in business. And so this must have been, 10 plus years ago at this point. And we had a client who called and scheduled a grill cleaning, and it was a nice house in North Palm Beach on the water. And somehow it was a property manager that had scheduled it. Somehow they scheduled it with both my company.
Oh, that's right.
And another company, another local grill cleaning company. And I guess they were mixing up the company names and the phone calls and stuff. And so they called the other company, said, just check in to make sure that you'll be there on Monday at 8 a.m. or whatever. And they said, yeah. Even though they didn't have something booked with them. And they ended up literally arriving on the job site at almost exactly the same time as me. Yeah. I got there maybe 30 seconds earlier than them. And here I am sitting in a nice brand new work truck with a beautiful brand new wrap logo around the outside, Palm Beach Grill Cleaner. It's got these logos and all of that, and it all looks very clean and nice and fresh. And here comes somebody else in a van, in like an Astro van. Mm-hmm. And it had like the back bumper was like halfway ripped off, and it had dents on the side, and it was not wrapped. It didn't have a logo anywhere.
Yeah, and meanwhile, this wasn't a time when you had tons of money. It wasn't like, oh, well, he's just like this rich guy who can buy, and oh, too bad for the guy who can't afford it. You had to take on, loans and make sure that, you invested into the business into the point where that's what you hope to get
important.
back.
It was important to put that in my mind. It was important to put off that that appearance of we do what we do seriously, we take it seriously. And this property manager comes outside and starts speaking to me, and he looks over and he said, hold on a second, let me go check. And he goes and talks to them for a couple minutes. He comes back to me and he says, I'm really sorry, I must have double booked, and that's my mistake. I'm not exactly sure how that happened, but don't worry, just hang out. I'm going to go let them know that they can leave. I'm going to have you guys stay and do the cleaning, and I'll make it up to them however, but you guys can do the work. And it was just like this instant example of, okay, just you could see this guy looked at the two vehicles and said, okay, look, this clearly, I want this company actually doing the work, because
if you can't even clean your own vehicle, or keep your appearance clean yourself, why would we trust you to clean our, client's $10 million house grill?
It's as simple as that. I mean, it makes so much sense when you think about it, but people just don't even realize.
And so thinking about it.
Now, so far we've been talking about physical appearance primarily, how we look on job sites, how our showroom looks, all that kind of stuff. But online appearance is also a really, really big thing, especially these days. It's so critical, and honestly, it's something that I feel not enough businesses have even caught on to yet. Obviously, all the big corporations out there have massive online presence and things like that. But
even some of those are majorly out there.
Correct.
They're resting on their laurels.
But, I find that for a smaller company, and as you can see, obviously we do a lot for our online presence, but I find that it's actually really important, and, because just about everyone these days is sitting there looking at their phones. And how do they find your business? On their phone. How do they review your business? How do they see what you do? On their phone.
99% of our clientele says that they came and found us through Google.
That's it. And all of them, I mean, it's like who's sitting on their desktop at home in their office researching patio projects. Very few of us, most people are, unless you're sitting in an office at work doing that, but most of us are doing it on our cell phones. And so if you don't have an online presence or let's say if you do have an online presence and it doesn't come off, it doesn't appear very attractive, it doesn't appear very professional, then
that's on several things.
You're behind the ball.
Yeah, that's on several things too. It's not just, so you want a beautiful website, something that's clean and organized and fresh and updated in today's day. And then beyond that, you want to have the reviews. And that is a major appearance item. I think
Google reviews specifically, by the way.
Specifically, that's so important and crucial, because how better to sell yourself than have somebody else do it for you. And I think that when people are raving about your process or your systems or the service that they got, it speaks for itself. You don't have to prove as much to people, from the start that, oh, you can trust me. Well, no, go look at the 250 reviews and just read through them. You feel free to call those people. We'll put you in touch with them if you wanted to. And that's how important it is for us to make sure that we're always staying on it, is that we get reviews, and we always reach out to clients for that, because
we're always asking out, and all of our employees request clients write reviews. I really want to put it out there. I don't think most people realize just how challenging it is to get somebody to write something.
Nice. Or anything.
Anything.
Yeah. Usually,
somebody to write anything.
Is hard. Usually, when you have a good experience, you're like, it's a great experience. You might talk about it with your friends, like if you go to a restaurant or something. Man, that steak was so good last night. But are you getting on Google and doing a review and saying, man, that steak was so good last night? No. But if a waiter speaks to you rude, oh man, I'm getting online and I'm going to blow this place up. Even
still, you really kind of need to piss somebody off to get them to write a bad review and take the time to do that, because most people are just not taking the time to get open an Google account and let me sign in and to do this. Okay, well, most people are not taking the time to do that. But yeah, it's way easier to get somebody to write a bad review than a good one, for sure.
This was an early experience for us, actually. With one of our businesses, our truck had actually pulled out of our office here, and I guess had pulled in front of somebody.
One of our employees kind of pulled out a little more abruptly in front of another individual on the road.
Not ideal, and it's always important for us to have good drivers, and that's why we also have tracking things in the vehicles, and we can see that kind of stuff. But he did pull in front of somebody, I guess, slightly cut him off, and immediately we get a 1-star review, and we had no reviews on the business yet.
We were a 1-star business on Google.
Instantly. And we had already been in business for years, and we're doing a great job. And so we're like, oh my goodness, that's not good.
It was a very sobering moment. Chad and I both looked at each other and said, this
cannot stay.
This is absolutely terrible. This can't, oh my God, what do we do here?
Well, and he said on there, he didn't even leave a review. He didn't even just.
No, he said, I'm going to tell you guys, your truck pulled out in front of me today, and that I don't think that's right. Appropriate for a business, blah, blah, blah.
So we responded because there's no.
We responded immediately.
You can't call them through there. So we responded immediately through the app. And we said, please give us a call. We'll be
very
happy to work
sorry.
through
That's not a representation of our company.
And he immediately called us and said, I appreciate it. That's the management. He was actually working for another plumbing company locally. And he said, you guys are driving a big billboard just like me. And, it's important to represent the business in an appropriate way and a good way. And we said, we 100% agree. We're going to speak with so-and-so. And, please, if at all possible, could you, change your review? We'd much appreciate it. And he changed it to 5-star, and he said management was, quick, prompt, blah, blah, blah. And it was a fantastic thing. And it was a good experience for us.
So within 2 hours, we went from being, after years of being in business, we all of a sudden became a 1-star business on Google, and then within 2 hours became a 5-star business from a review from somebody who never even used our service before, which is not typical of our reviews. That's another question I get all the time, or I get people tell me, sometimes I think that all the reviews are fake. Go ahead and check out our reviews, read through them, and you tell us if they're fake or not.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, it's hard. It's actually hard to do that.
It is hard to do that.
I know people can pay other countries and people.
Another time, we actually had a 1-star review from somebody who we looked at the name and we said, well, they've never used any of our services ever. India. And we looked up who they were, and they are somebody who was on Quora and some other websites basically touting their services for
negative reviews,
writing negative reviews or positive reviews and getting paid for that.
Yeah, some company try to come after us, and that who knows? We have a lot of.
So here's the thing: we were on there, responding to them numerous times, and if you respond to somebody, they're going to get a notification. They're going to get an email saying that there's a response, and even if you go back in and change your response by one letter or something or one word, it's going to give them another email and respond, in response. We were actively responding to that person over and over again saying, like, look, you've never used our services. This is, this is not appropriate for you to do. We're going to be submitting your information to Google, which we did. And I'm not sure if Google ended up taking it off after they reviewed it. Or
it was a process, so they removed it. And it was a tough thing because Google's very into freedom of speech. It's your ability.
And it's hard to prove that somebody didn't actually have a bad experience with your business. But
I think it was once they found out that they were doing that for business that they were able to remove it. And that's
we spent weeks dealing with that, and that was after we had a bunch of reviews, so it didn't actually make us look like a bad business at that point in time. However, it's very important for us that the appearances online and everywhere that our business shows up, it's very important for us that we appear to be a good, quality, qualified company that takes what they do seriously. Yeah. And having just BS reviews on Google that's 1-star because, I don't know, for fun, is just not appropriate. Yeah. And as hard as it is to get that removed, we worked hard and we got it removed.
Yeah, and it's never easy to keep your appearance in a way that you want. And a lot of people like that don't even think about it or don't even look there. And as business owners and don't even realize that they're a 1.3 star rated company, and they're like, how are you even getting business still? It's crazy. But
if you looked up a restaurant to go to and it said 3.8 stars,
I would never go. I don't even look at
There's
restaurants.
A 4.9 right across the street. Why are we going to a 3.8? Not a chance.
It's got to be 4.4 or higher for me to go to any restaurant. There's just no reason to pay and go to something that's less than that, really.
So those reviews are massive. They're really important. People look at that first. Typically,
that
Google. People just go to Google and what does this company look like on Google? There's a simple way to judge it immediately. Here's a number of stars. Mm-hmm. And, it's important to look at the amount of reviews, too. If somebody has 2 5-star reviews or 1 5-star review, versus another company that has 120 5-star reviews.
It's different, yeah.
There's a big difference there. How much can you trust 1 or 2 reviews versus that many? But yeah, it's all of these things are so critical,
and it all comes together into one thing.
Once again, for online appearances and presence, we've realized that it's really important to kind of put yourself all over the place on the internet. We're on Google, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, the website. Literally everywhere you can be, we are. Jacob, once again, helps us a lot with that.
Yeah.
But even like our YouTube videos and even our Instagram photos, we used to be posting photos and short snippets on there, and there was no consistent theme or visual appeal of it at all. And Jacob came in and said, look, guys, let's start putting together some consistency here in the way that you present yourselves.
3 C's, right? Create consistent content, right?
There it is.
CCC. That's nothing negative's big thing, but it's so true. It's crucial to feel like, oh, this company's alive. There's action. They're always there. Even if you don't have followers, guess what? Somebody's going to click on the link over to your thing, and they're going to see whether your last post was in 2011 or, and that you posted
2 days ago.
Or 2 days ago or a day ago. And I think that, and a consistent, imagery, we pay a professional photographer to go and take photos of every job that we finish. Mm-hmm. And it's important. We don't even have them all out there, but we have
a fraction of them that we've posted. But we take them all just to have them so that we can continue putting out content over time.
Yep. And clients too ask us in person, oh, do you have an example of what that tile looked like on a wall? Yeah, actually we could pull up so-and-so's account. And it's so crucial to have that consistency across all the platforms, because too, all the websites, they all communicate with each other. So if you have a link on LinkedIn that's backlinked to Google, that's backlinked to Facebook, that's run over to YouTube, whatever it is, it all kind of correlates. And so when people are searching your company, it's coming up on that search menu, and it's crucial to be there, and it's crucial to look good there. For us too, we may be in a community with our trucks. People see the truck. It looks really nice. They say, oh, that's an interesting business. Let me call them. Or they Google us first. Then they see the reviews. Then they go to the website. Oh, there's nice pictures of jobs. Oh my gosh, that's in my neighborhood. I think I know that house. All of that is part of the combination that comes together that makes people feel like they trust you and like they immediately understand that you're in their realm or their style or whatever it is, and that business is attractive to them and they want to buy into that. And I think that it's a combination, the culmination of everything.
Now, keep in mind too that the appearance of your business goes a little bit further than all of this as well. If you have a good upfront appearance and that makes customers feel like you're trustworthy right from the start, and they use your business because of that, the appearances that they're seeing, and they feel comfortable right from the start, that's great. That's great. You've done the first step. You've made people feel comfortable, and you've gotten them to trust you, and you've gotten their business. However, you got to follow through. You have to continue forward and follow through and live up to the standards that you presented to them from the start. If you don't do that, then right off the bat, those Google reviews are going to go down the tube, and then your appearance starts dropping. Yep. We have people all the time for our industry telling us that I guess all of these different communities, gated communities, neighborhoods, they all have their own private Facebook groups that only people who live in the neighborhoods are allowed to join and be a part of. And we're getting told constantly these days too, our number one source of people finding us is Google. Number two, community Facebook group.
Yeah.
And we're hearing this constantly. We can't affect the community Facebook group. We cannot join those groups. We don't live in the neighborhoods unless we do live in one of the neighborhoods. But other than that, all of the rest, you cannot join it. And so we don't have any influence on those groups and the reviews and what neighbors are saying other than the work that we're actively doing.
Yeah.
And so a person's not going to get on to one of those groups and say, well, I think Fishman's is a great company to work with because I went on to Google and they have good reviews. That's not why they're going to post there.
Yeah,
They're going to post and say,
experience.
I had a great experience with Fishman.
Or I didn't.
Or I didn't.
Right.
And that is going to play a big role in the business that you get in that neighborhood from there forward.
You also have to understand that as hard as you may try, some clients, it just doesn't jive. It doesn't work out. They don't feel the same way that you feel like you've put out for them. And it's okay. You can't take it personally. I think everybody's different. Personalities are different. People are different. Expectations are different. Assumptions are different. I think that no matter how much you try and you really try to prime people on how things are going to go and what the costs are and all this kind of stuff, you're still going to come against scenarios where you're just never seeing eye to eye with the client, and that happens. And I think you just also have to be aware that that's a reality, and you're going to try as much as you can, and you're going to do everything to put the client first. But don't ever feel like it's a defeating feeling if you feel like
it's awful.
You go out on a bad note with a client or anything like that. And
all I can say with that is, and that will happen. It's a sobering and unfortunate lesson to have to learn, but you'll learn it and you'll learn it over and over again.
Because it'll be a different thing of the same thing.
But as long as you hold to your standards, to your truth, to your,
you do everything.
If you do everything the way it should be done, regardless of how customers are treating you or the feedback they're giving you, if you do everything the way it needs to be done, then at least number one, you can feel good about yourself after it's done. And number two, as much as that experience might not have gone great for you and or the customer, what can they come back and say afterwards other than, I'm not happy with it?
Well, it's opinion.
It's an opinion. They're not going to be able to say, well, they didn't hold up to their word. They didn't follow through on the things that they said they were going to do. Yep. They can't say crucial. That because, if somebody goes on to Google and writes a review saying that about us, I'll say, yeah, not a chance. Here's what we agreed to do for you.
Right.
This is exactly what we did. Here's photos of us having done that. I'm sorry that you were frustrated about something that is some expectation that you had that you never discussed with us, that we never promised you in the first place.
It can be hard.
I
think it's one of those things that it's similar to like the concept of, okay, Cory and I go out, eat dinner. Let's say we go to a steakhouse. We get the same exact filet mignon. We're ordered. Let's say we even take a bite of the same exact one. Let's say we decide to split it, okay? You may say, not very good. It's okay. I've had better. And I may say, that's the best steak I've ever had. I don't know what you're talking about. It's an opinion. And so I think you have to be used to taking opinions, good and bad, because it's just that, and you can't take it personally.
I think the reason that you kind of brought up this topic in general is because I was getting into talking about those community Facebook groups and everything,
right.
And unfortunately, we have had a couple clients in the past that for some reason, one way or another, they felt like they didn't have the experience they expected, and I know that in one scenario, we've definitely had one of those clients on the local community Facebook group saying that to absolutely everybody, even though there's 5 other people in that neighborhood who are absolutely in love with the work that we did for them and the services that we provided and the way that we held ourselves up throughout the whole thing and did exactly what we said. One of those individuals, the one who wasn't happy for whatever reason, is very active on that group. And because of that, we have actually distinctly noticed numerous potential clients from that neighborhood calling us and kind of saying, I'm just a little skeptical. I see that you got good reviews online, but somebody in my neighborhood, I've been on the Facebook group and they're not all the best reviews. And we know it's that one person.
It's a bad seed. Yeah. So it's hard to deal with. And that's
Which
one
is
of the
why
things just appearance is big and you want to do as much as you can.
As much as you can. If you can be all over the place, appearing legitimate and professional and qualified and knowledgeable, absolutely everywhere, that one person, you still get the call.
Yeah.
You still get the call. Hey, I've been on the Facebook group in my neighborhood and not all the reviews are great, but I went online and you guys honestly look amazing on there.
Listen.
And so I'm calling anyway.
Plenty of people say Apple products are junk. That's their opinion. I personally feel like Apple products are fantastic, and that's the thing is you just have to know that the law of large numbers. You're gonna come across tougher scenarios or people that have a different opinion than other people. And that is what it is. So you just have to kind of, drive with it and make sure that you're just consistently working hard to do better and to make yourself better and consistently putting content out there and creating an appearance that really shows well for yourself.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, I think that we're definitely going to kind of continue forward with that on our next discussion in the next episode. As we've mentioned, we're planning on bringing in our special guest, Jacob, and having him help us to kind of discuss that. Specifically the marketing, online presence, web presence, and all of the kind of things that you need to be thinking about and focusing on in that direction. Once again, I find that is so critical these days. It's one of the most important things you can be doing as a business, is focusing on your online presence and the way people view you online, because that's how everybody sees you. Mm-hmm. And so that's going to be really exciting, having Jacob on and getting into that and really getting that discussion started and kind of going in a bit more in depth than we have been.
Right.
With that, though, I think I do have a quote today, and I like this one quite a bit, having to do with our topic. A lot of people have heard this one before.
Yeah, it's a very popular quote.
You never get a second chance to make a first impression. And,
that's really it.
It's just the truth. You really don't ever get a second chance to make a first impression. So if you're gonna put yourself out there and you're gonna put yourself in front of people, you're gonna start a business, you start putting your name on something, perhaps, you got to be thinking about this stuff constantly. You have to work hard towards making sure that you look good.
Look good. Look the part.
You look right, and you look the way that you want to. So, I mean, honestly, if you want to look absolutely horrible because you're some like grunge business and that's the way, you want the type of people you want to,
that's
awesome.
The way to go.
That's great. Just be thinking about the way you come off. And that's the important
100%.
thing.
Yeah. So that's it for us for episode number 8, Brothers Contracting. We appreciate you tuning in and look forward to next week's special guest on our episode here.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in. Speak to you soon.
Thanks.